A very good morning to you. Welcome to the program. Lovely to have you here.
Hi, Julie. Thank you so much for having me and welcome. Good morning to your listeners and your viewers.
Okay, so I've always been fascinated by the people that work at the NSPCA. Um, and I know that a lot of people also put in voluntary work at your organization. And I'm also aware that funding is a huge problem for the NSPCA. So let's start off by talking about the organization, your mission, your vision, where you are at currently, and are you in a very dire situation at the moment, or are you managing to get by? And then, of course, we're going to look at the ongoing challenges. And of course, the more important issue is how can we as community get involved to keep you guys afloat, or to keep you guys running as efficiently as you've done in the past. A very good morning, welcome, and over to you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. You are right. This is a very worthy cause and something that's needed across the country. And as you mentioned, like many non-governmental organizations or NPOs, non-profit organizations, we don't receive any funding from the government. So we are totally reliant on support, donations, people who give to us to make sure that we are operating. Now, the National Council of SPCAs is the statutory body in South Africa for all the SPCAs across the country, which means we are, I suppose you could call us the head office, and we administer the SPCAs Act to ensure that all the SPCAs across the country adhere to all the rules and the regulations and operate efficiently and correctly, and all that in the name of ensuring animal welfare in South Africa. We are governed by the Animals Protection Act 71 of 1962, and that's to provide protection for all animals, regardless of species, against any neglect, cruelty, abuse, anything of that sort. So we have the authority and the jurisdiction to enforce this legislation and to prosecute anybody who contravenes the law.
Okay, so the one thing I have picked up in the past is all right, if you go into the suburbs, we do know that people do really, most people, let's not generalize here, but by and large, people living in the suburbs really and truly take good care of their pets. Very seldom would you find pets as runaways. If they do it, it's due to the negligence of the owner having left a door or a gate open. And the suburbs largely are supported via private vet services. But I think the situation is different in townships, and walking or driving through a township, one does find or one does come across a lot of stray animals. What does it look like then? How active are you in these areas? And why is it that we have so many strays in the townships? What's the cause of that? Is it people wanting to adopt pets or get adopt or buy or be given pets, and they kind of commit to perhaps taking care of them and then find that it actually is an extra mouth to feed and they can't upkeep that?
I think there are so many issues, socioeconomic issues that contribute to overpopulation of domestic animals or companion pets. To answer your first question, in terms of coverage in areas outside of urban, suburban, peri-urban areas, the SPCAs, we call them societies that we have across the country, have been allocated areas of operation where they are responsible for managing any issues of animal cruelty or neglect or abuse in those areas. But if there is a situation that occurs, what we call in an out of area location, that's when the NSPCA gets involved. So we are there to help any animal, regardless of where that animal is, especially if there is not a local SPCA to assist. And we have a variety of different operational units. We've got our wildlife protection unit. Obviously, they're responsible for addressing any wildlife queries or complaints. We've got our farm animal protection unit that look after farm animals across the country. And we've got our special investigations unit or special projects unit, and they address different complaints and issues that don't fall under specifically wildlife or farm animals. And those are the sorts of things like your dog fighting, any online cruelty activities or crimes, anything that is of a different aspect to wildlife or farm animals. So in terms of the prevalence of stray or let's call them free roaming domestic animals in townships, as I mentioned, there are so many issues that contribute to that, and we can't really pinpoint anything in specific. But it may just be, as you mentioned, they don't have access to affordable or easily accessible veterinary treatment and care. So you'll often find that pets, dogs and cats in more rural or township areas haven't been sterilized. And that is one of the main issues that causes overpopulation, because the animals often are not kept confined. So they roam the streets and then they breed. And because there is no population control in terms of sterilization, the numbers just increase and increase. And that's where we start seeing overpopulation issues. And again, because of a variety of issues, mainly socioeconomic, people are struggling enough as it is to feed themselves, and then they've got these other mouths that they are responsible for. So it's just an issue that compounds in on and of itself, and it's a very difficult issue to combat.
So, what about your long-term plan, Samantha? I'm thinking you're talking sterilization. We do know it comes at a cost. But if we don't sterilize the proliferation of these animals in townships, they could spread diseases as well. And we do know there's the worry of rabies, because if they get sick, then it can cross over to the human population as well. And that's a pretty serious matter. Is there a long-term plan in place regarding going in and doing some sort of a huge sterilization operation in the townships, bearing in mind that the cats in those areas also serve a purpose regarding the getting rid of mice and rats, because we need, each little animal and each little insect plays a role in the ecosystem. So bearing that in mind, where do we stand on these issues?
So luckily, each SPCA often provides the area that they operate in with much reduced rates, where people can go to those clinics or go to those SPCAs and request that they get their dogs sterilized at a much reduced rate. Unfortunately, there are SPCAs that don't have the capacity to offer this service, but there are a variety of other NGOs and NPOs spread across the country that do offer sterilization at reduced rates, and many organizations that do outreach into communities where they offer to sterilize people's pets at no cost. As the NSPCA, this isn't our mandate, so it's not something that we specifically offer as National Council of SPCAs, but as I mentioned, the societies and the SPCAs across the country do offer this. So what we say to people is that if you are interested in getting your animals sterilized, to contact your local SPCA or to contact us, and we are more than happy to put you in touch with an SPCA close to you that can assist.
Okay, you mentioned something just now in one of your responses, and you spoke about dog fighting. I want to go into that in a little more detail, and the issue of stolen dogs. The area I live in, we are often told that dogs have been stolen. Please keep your gates locked, and the whole story around stolen dogs. Are these dogs being stolen to get the dogs involved in the dog fighting syndicate. We know it's big business. It's some form of twisted entertainment for certain groups of people. But we'll go into that in a minute or two. Let's go for our first ad break. It is 11:15, and we'll get back to you in a minute or two.
It is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal South Africa's Breakfast Club aims to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend their day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner for only 5 Rand a day, or 150 Rand a month. Or visit our website www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal South Africa. Small change, big difference. When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Albeit Lodge, your true home away from home. Albeit is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities, conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities. Your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Albeit has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albeitlodge.co.za.
Yasin Badat Financial Advisory. Are your financial goals feeling out of reach? Yasin Badat Financial Advisory is here to turn your aspirations into achievements. Our dedicated team, armed with a history of success, is ready to guide you through the complex nature of financial and investment planning. Whether you're a seasoned investor or new to the game, our personalized solutions cater to your unique goals and risk appetite. Trust in our commitment to transparency, integrity, and excellence. Ready to unlock a world of financial freedom? Partner with us today. Call Yasin Badat Financial Advisory at +2733 346 2071 or visit www.yasinbadat.com. Yasin Badat Financial Advisory, guiding you to financial success.
Hey, Gulam.
Yeah?
Did I return your lawnmower last month?
No, bye, you didn't.
Oh, no. Now what'll I do? I wanted to borrow it again, man.
With Randry Jewelers, you won't have to borrow or lend because the prices are so well trimmed on all gold and diamond jewelry. Alternatively, we could remake your old jewelry into a brilliant new design. Visit Randry Jewelers at 151 Stevens Lamini Road, Musgrave, Durban. Randry Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Abu Huraira narrated that he heard the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, say, "In black seed there is a healing for every disease except death." This Ramadan, experience the health benefits of this ancient blessed seed by using the Tib Black Seed range. Black seed assists the body to boost immunity, regulate blood sugar levels, reduce inflammation, and act as a potent antioxidant. Experience a holistic approach to health by introducing the Tib Black Seed range into your Ramadan routine. Available in capsules, pure cold-pressed oil, and a vapor rub. Trust Tib Health Sciences for quality black seed products. For more information, visit blackseed.co.za. Available at leading pharmacies.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Welcome back. It's exactly 19 after 11 o'clock. This is the mid-morning show with me, Julie Ali, and my first guest is Samanta Stelli. She is the PR and Communications Officer at the National Council of SPCAs, and we're talking animal welfare in South Africa. And I think it goes beyond that as well. Wherever in the world you might be, we all are lovers of animals. We need animals in our lives. But of course, there are issues to consider before investing and taking on an animal, adopting an animal, or buying an animal, because it's like taking on an additional child into your home, it's a responsibility, and you must be up to that responsibility. Welcome back, Samanta. And would you like to respond to the issue around stolen dogs and the dog fighting mafia, for want of a better word?
You mentioned dogs being stolen, and unless we follow the trail, it's never sure why or where the dogs have been taken or why they were stolen. But there are incidents where dogs are stolen, especially the more fighting type breeds or breeds that people feel are more suitable for fighting, that are stolen from people's properties and used in this horrendous activity. It's a very unpleasant situation, the dog fighting situation in South Africa. It's an underground activity. It's often linked to other forms of crime like gangs, gambling, and that sort of thing. And it's really a deplorable act of what people call entertainment. There are a variety of cruelty and welfare issues that are involved in dog fighting, and it's something that our special project unit is specialized in addressing. So this team has a number of knowledgeable and skilled inspectors that know how to deal with these sorts of crimes, especially because they are involved in other criminal elements. So you've got to be careful with the people that you interact, the information you put out to the public. So it's a very specialized type of activity that our unit deals with. And it's something that we strongly oppose and work really, really hard to combat and stop.
So if one is aware of these nefarious activities being taken place with these heinous characters, do you report this to your local SAPs, or rather to your organization? Because I kind of wonder what sort of support you'd get out of SAPs.
We work very closely with SAPs because we do need them often in assistance when we're addressing these crimes, especially where we are on scene, where these sorts of activities are taking place. But I would suggest that people report it directly to us, because, as I mentioned, we've got our specialized unit that works with dog fighting crimes, so we can address it immediately, and then we involve the authorities where we need them.
For people who can afford to buy and adopt pets and do the best they can by their pets, how important is it to have their pets chipped? What are the advantages of it?
I think it's very important. It's a cost-effective way of keeping your animals safe. It really isn't expensive. I think at most you're looking at paying maybe a couple of hundreds of rands, maybe 100 to 200 rand to get the chip implanted. It's not especially painful for your dog either, and it will most of the time last for your dog's lifetime. A chip can migrate once it's been implanted over the years. So if you find a missing dog, or if you're trying to locate a chip, the vets always recommend that you scan the full body of the animal just to make sure that you can look for a chip. But I think chipping is a very important way of keeping your animals safe, because, like you mentioned in your introduction, South Africa is a country of animal lovers. Most people care and respect animals, and you will often find people picking up strays, taking them to the local SPCA or vet, where they can be checked for a microchip and then reunited with their owners. We have been supporting another exciting initiative, which is called YapScan. And what they've done is they've taken chipping to the next level. They've used AI to develop an app where you take a scan of your dog's nose, and apparently a dog's nose print is as unique as a human's fingerprint. So the app scans the dog's nose and then records that information. If somebody picks up your lost animal and uses the app to scan the dog's nose, it picks up your information and you can be reunited with your lost pet. And the wonderful thing about YapScan is they are also donating R1 to the NSPCA for every dog that is registered on their app. So overall, I think microchipping or using an application like YapScan is very important to make sure that your dog is kept safe.
Wow, where is technology taking us? Absolutely mind-boggling. Samantha, a story just, I just thought about something a couple of months ago. It could have been a couple of weeks ago for that matter. I interviewed someone who had a huge complaint, and he was some sort of a, I'd say, I think the patrol in the area that he lives in, the CPF, I think. And they are based in Homestead Park, close to Mayfair on the West Rand. I don't know how well you know the area. It's bordered by the main Reef Road and main roads on the West Rand going towards Roodepoort. There's an area called, as I've said, Homestead Park, and close to this area, or within the middle of this area, is a little lake, and it's called the Blue Dam. It was a beautiful area. If memory serves me correctly, 10, 15 years ago, it was truly a gorgeous area. Subsequently, lots of squatters have moved in, and subsequent to that, there is an owner of about 20 or more head of cattle who brings the cattle to this area, which is in the middle, literally in the middle of the city, and he leaves the cattle to roam freely around that Blue Dam area. The residents have tried absolutely everything to, have him removed and his cattle removed from the area. They suspect he comes from Soweto or close by, and this has been an ongoing battle for them, and they just haven't made any inroads. I think they suggested that they have also approached your organization. Are you aware of this case? And if you are, do you believe that the residents of the area have a leg to stand on? Because in a sense, it's also cruelty to the animals, and it is, and they pose a hazard to the traffic in the area.
Unfortunately, this kind of thing does become a big concern in many areas. But as I mentioned earlier, we are mandated to enforce the Animals Protection Act. So we are here to enforce the law when it comes to preventing animal cruelty, abuse, or neglect. When it comes to animals that are roaming in the street and causing a potential hazard to vehicles, that would probably fall under the jurisdiction of the local Metro Police Department. So we always advise people who bring these concerns to us to take it to the local authorities to address. As you mentioned, if there are serious welfare concerns, if people are noticing that the animals are mistreated or injured, then they are more than welcome to contact us, and then that's when we can be involved.
Okay, so as the PR and communications person at the National Council of SPCAs, let's ask this very important question, which of course we all need to be aware of. How does your organization use media and social platforms to raise awareness about animal welfare issues? And then where and how does the community education come into play here as well? I'm wondering how active you are in schools as well to make children aware of kindness and loving animals.
So obviously in today's age of technology, social media is an integral part of us getting our message across, to bring awareness to people, especially to the sorts of things that our inspectors need to deal with, because we want to make people aware, obviously, of the sorts of incidents that are occurring, but also to bring awareness to people on how to better treat animals, to treat animals with compassion, respect, care, and dignity, which is what all living beings deserve. But it's very important that we get our message out, and we also increase and encourage support and donations. As I mentioned previously, we have absolutely no assistance from the government. So in order to operate, we rely entirely on donations from the public. So getting that information across through social media is the best way. As you know, everybody has a smartphone these days. So it's an easy and quick way to access the information about what we do. And we are active across all social media platforms. So that's Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, we are there. We also have a lovely website. All of our information is accessible there. You can contact us through the website. That's nspca.co.za. As the National Council, we don't specifically focus on outreach, so we don't necessarily target schools or communities in terms of education and awareness. That gets focused on specifically by the SPCAs. But we do have a team that does do outreach in more outlying areas that unfortunately don't have access to SPCAs. So that's where our Farm Animal Protection Unit usually goes out and does outreach with communities that don't have access to veterinary care or an SPCA.
Okay, another important question, and I think a lot of people, and possibly even a lot of older people or young unemployed people, want to be of service. Do you believe there's a role for them at SPCAs in their areas? And what about people who want to get involved, who want to make a difference, but have absolutely no idea about how to care for animals? If they join up as a volunteer, would they be given some sort of lessons, safety tips, etc., so that they can work with animals without fear and truly give the best of themselves to the welfare of those animals?
Yes, most definitely. We always encourage people to get involved as much as they'd like to, as much as they can. And I know that many SPCAs across the country do offer volunteer opportunities. So what we say to people, if they ask us about that, is to contact your local SPCA to find out if they have an opportunity for you to volunteer. And often they'll provide you with an induction session or training on how to work with animals and how to care for them and look after them. But also we always welcome any questions. As the NSPCA, and I know the SPCAs are always happy to help. So if people have questions about how to care for their animals, they're a little bit uncertain about issues, maybe medical treatment that their animals need, and they're looking for assistance, we always encourage people to contact us because we are more than happy to help.
I'm just thinking about young unemployed people. If they devoted some of their time to the SPCA, just how great it would look on their CVs. And hopefully,
Definitely.
going forward, they could always then, when they are in full-time employment, they can always still make room and time available for to be of service with the SPCA. Let's wrap up now. I think we've covered all of our bases. It's been fascinating talking with you. But what are the challenges and the future goals as far as not only you at the NSPCA, but SPCAs throughout the country?
I think we spoke about it early on in our conversation, and the biggest challenge we're facing at the moment is funding. I think we know it's not only in South Africa, but it's across the world. People are battling financially. The economy is not fantastic. And that means that donating or supporting a charity is often a luxury. And we are seeing that our donations have steadily decreased over the last few months, and it's concerning to us. So I think this is probably the challenge that any NPO or NGO is facing at the moment. It's just getting the support that we need so that we can continue to operate and function as we are.
Samanta, wonderful talking with you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And we do hope and pray by way of this interview, lots of people will either dig into their pockets and their hearts to donate generously or become volunteers at one of the SPCAs closest to their areas. Go well, have a good day, and God bless.
Thank you.
It is exactly 11:34, news and views moving along. Time for an ad break, and then we'll be joined by Dylan Mashele.